So hello, good evening everyone once again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel again. I love you all viewers. I really thank you for following my content, these YouTube videos that I'm always giving up to you. So today I'm back here again with another content, another basic content to explain out to you. Before in my previous video, I told you about the types of plagiarism and I explained all the types of plagiarism. So in this video, I'm going to take you through how you can avoid the different types of plagiarism. And there are many different ways, and before going through this, there are specific things that you're supposed to know that will help you to avoid what we call plagiarism. So in this video I'm going to make you all guys understand the different ways that you can avoid what we call plagiarism. Like I listed it here on my first slide in my introductory video, how I'm going to take you guys through all this. So now here today I'm going to take you through how to avoid different types of plagiarism. So to avoid plagiarism, there are certain things you're supposed to know and you're supposed to put in mind so that you can successfully avoid what we call plagiarism. So basically, to start with, avoiding plagiarism, it involves what we call, you should ensure that all ideas or words or the works that you're trying to do that are not your own are properly credited to the original authors. You credit them to an author that has written that document. And here, so after doing all that, after making sure that the ideas, the works, and all that you have are credited to the original authors. So after that, I want to take you through the basic things that you're supposed to follow in order to avoid plagiarism. So number one is you have to understand what constitutes a specific type of plagiarism. So it can either be direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic, or accidental. So what you have to do first is to understand what constitutes that specific type of plagiarism. So the next thing you have to do is you have to use proper citations. Citation basically involves like writing out a document and you cite out a specific name of an author who wrote that specific document, in which year, like the specific year when the author wrote that document. That's also what you should put in mind if you want to avoid what you call plagiarism. So the third thing that you should put in mind is you have to paraphrase correctly. When you're doing paraphrasing, you have to make sure that you ensure that you fully understand the source material, like the source where you got that information. You should understand it very well. That will help you to paraphrase correctly in order to avoid plagiarism. So the number four, the thing that you should do, number four, you have to manage your sources carefully. So you can either maybe so managing sources carefully. This one, maybe you can maybe cite out a wrong source, or you can go to a wrong source when you're trying to make research, or you can separate your ideas from others. So you have to manage your source carefully. So another thing you have to do is to use the plagiarism detection tools. So these are basically tools that help to detect either a specific type of plagiarism has been committed somewhere. So you use those tools to detect them. So now another thing you have to know, you have to have common knowledge about a specific document. So here you have to have the common knowledge, means like you should have that basic knowledge in your mind about certain information before you even go to make a research. At least you should have something in your mind that you know about a specific type of document, or specific information, and even a specific source that you're trying to get that information. At least you should have some common knowledge about it. So the other thing you should keep in mind to avoid plagiarism, the seventh one, is you have to understand the academic strategy policies. So there are different academic strategy policies that you're supposed to understand, that you understand them, that will help you out to avoid what we call plagiarism. So we shall come back to number one, where we talked about you have to understand what constitutes the plagiarism. For example, let me talk about the direct plagiarism, whereby we say that you do something directly on a specific document directly. So here, direct plagiarism, copying somebody else's work, where you can forward without a quotation or marks. That's what. So you have to keep that in mind. in order to avoid, you don't have to copy somebody's work directly or without quotations. So that helps you to avoid what we call direct plagiarism. So self-plagiarism, you have to reuse your previous work without permission or acknowledgement. So when you reuse your own work, you reuse your previous work that maybe you've written somewhere previously, so you reuse it to maybe do research on another document like that to create a document. So that one helps you to avoid what they call self-plagiarism. So for the case of mosaic plagiarism, you have to borrow phrase or terms from a source without a credit, even if you mix them with other words or other phrases like that. So you have to do what we call, you have to borrow phrases from those terms. Helps you to avoid what we call mosaic plagiarism. So accidental plagiarism, so when you fail to cite out a specific author for a certain document, or you misinterpret the source of that document or ideas that are in that document. So you have to put this in mind. You don't have to you have to cite the correct author, and also you should not misinterpret the source of the information. That one helps you to avoid what you call direct plagiarism. So that's what I'll talk about under understanding what constitutes the types. So when you understand all that constitutes these types of plagiarism, you'll be able to avoid all of them. So we shall move to the second part where I'll talk about you have to use proper citations. This I'll talk about the in-text citations. Where suppose cite you talk about here we shall use about the APA format that we normally use, the Chicago style and others. So when you understand these citations, it helps you to avoid plagiarism. You have the APA, the MLA, Chicago style. So here you have to refer the idea correctly, or you make correct in-text citations for you to avoid plagiarism. So for the case of quotations, you have to use quotation marks when directly quoting someone's words. When somebody said maybe in a certain document somebody mentioned specific words, so you have to pick those very words and you quote them. So you put them in quotation marks. This also helps to avoid plagiarism. So for the case of paraphrasing, like you're trying to paraphrase, get ideas on somebody's work, you still need to cite the source of that information for it to, when you're paraphrasing, you cite the source of the information. That one helps you to avoid what you call plagiarism. So when we go to the third thing I'll talk about, here comes, I'll talk about paraphrasing correctly. You have to do correct paraphrase. So here, when paraphrasing, you have to ensure that you fully understand the source material or the new words that you're using in a document. You have to understand the source where you got that information from, and you have to reflect and understand without copying the original words. Like when you refer to a certain document, you don't have to copy the original words that were used there. You have to paraphrase it, put it in your own words. That one also helps to avoid what we call plagiarism. So the next thing I'll talk about is you have to manage your sources carefully. Sources where you're trying to find information, you have to manage them carefully. You also have to keep track of sources. So in case you're trying to make research and you go through a certain source, you have to keep track, you move along that source that will help you to organize documents critically, and also references. You refer them to references to help you to organize things in a critical way, in an organized manner, just so you keep that track of the information. So this all talks about other things like the Zotero, the EndNote, and the Mendeley. This they help you to keep track of the document. So you have to separate your ideas from those of others. Like maybe someone said a specific word in a document, you have to separate your own words from what the author said. Certainly helps you to avoid plagiarism. So in that case, you're managing your sources carefully, and it helps you to avoid plagiarism. So the next thing is the use of the plagiarism detection tools. So here now we have softwares like we have the Grammarly and the Turnitin and other plagiarism checkers that helps you to check whether you've committed certain type of plagiarism somewhere. So when you use the detection tools, they detect that, oh, you've committed this and this somewhere. So that one helps you to avoid them when you're detected them. So the next thing is about having common knowledge about a specific document. So you have to have common knowledge about documents. Maybe when you're given a research to do, at least you have to put it in your mind. and you try to reflect upon that assignment you're given to do, and you get some common knowledge about it. So when you go through that, it helps you at least have an understand the document, and you also try to make research from other sources, and you combine all of them in the common knowledge that you have. So this helps you to avoid other mistakes, maybe failing to put something in quotations. It helps you to avoid all that. So the last thing and the last point I'll talk about on how to avoid plagiarism is what you have to understand the academic integrity policies. So here there are different institutions and journals that have varying guidelines on plagiarism. They have different guidelines that really put you into the path of trying to avoid plagiarism. So from there, if you put these academic integrity policies in mind, they help you to avoid either direct, mosaic, or accidental plagiarism. So with all these integrity policies, when you try to put them in mind and you follow them critically, it helps you to avoid all these types of plagiarism. So those are basically the different ways that you can really avoid plagiarism. And they are well explained from the first one, how to avoid direct, on the basic things that should follow on managing sources carefully, having common knowledge detection tools, and all that. Thank you so much for watching, viewers. Let's link up in the new YouTube video, and I still know that you'll still gain specific content and understand more about information literacy in my next video. Thank you so much for listening.